1.
Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to another edition of Who Moved the Market. I'm Surabhi Upadhyay, and back with us on the show, second day running, is Nimesh. Nimesh, I think you're on a hat trick here.
You need to be lucky to sit with Surabhi and do the show. So
No.
What is mine?
Well, the buzz is what Nimesh was all about, and we were talking about block deals yesterday, right? Today morning we woke up to another very large one. So we thought we'll give you a little more detail on this deal because it has some history, it has a lot of present context, there are two large business groups that are involved. So it has all the masala to be the right deal pot boiler, right Ramesh?
Yes, Surabhi. Yes.
Okay, I think we've kept people guessing a lot, so let me reveal the names. We're talking about the deal that we saw where Piramal Enterprises sold out its entire stake in Shriram Finance. So let's start with the basics. What happened this morning, Nimesh?
So this morning, what we spoke yesterday, $1.7 billion block deal data now is now moved to about $2 billion. So that's the that's the news part. But having said that,
by the way, if you missed yesterday's show, please go back and search for it on our YouTube feed. You'll find the figure that he's saying, 1.7 billion. Till yesterday, that was the total value of block deals in June.
Yeah, correct.
Today, after today's deal, this deal,
close to $2 billion.
It's $2 billion.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So now coming to today's news, what has happened today? What has happened today is Piramal Enterprises has done a clean out trade in Shriram Finance. They've sold their entire 8.3% stake, which is a little over 3 crore shares at an average price of 1850.
Okay.
So they've sold their entire stake in pre-open, so no large discount. I understand some large market names has bought into today's block deal.
Okay.
Having said that, with this deal now, Piramal has managed to raise overnight 4,800 crores by selling its entire 8.3% stake in Shriram Finance. So that's the big news of today, and that's going to reflect in the FI number as well. But broadly,
that's the headline.
That's the headline.
Yeah.
And see the reaction in both the stocks. Piramal Enterprises is up 13%, and Shriram Finance is up more than 10%.
More than 10%.
That's the kind of reaction we've seen, and we'll explain as to why there are such big reactions to both these stocks.
Absolutely. So I just want to take, before we talk about what this deal means for both of these parties, I want to take a step back in time so that you folks have some context, because these two groups kind of came together, and Piramal made inroads into the Shriram group way back. I think the first deal was in 2013.
Yes. So basically, this is end of a 10-year so-called relationship or a strategic stake that they bought in Shriram Group. Now that's finally come to an end with today's final exit of 8.3% in Shriram Finance.
Yeah. So just to go back and rework the numbers in case you folks are interested. The Piramal group, once they had exited their healthcare business, they were obviously sitting on a huge pile of cash. They were getting pretty big on the financial services landscape. That is when they decided to pick up strategic stakes in several Shriram group companies.
Yes.
That time there was no Shriram Finance. There were a bunch of Shriram companies. So I think in 2013, they picked up in Shriram Transport and some other companies as well,
so
right?
in 2013, they bought 10% in Shriram Transport. The next year in 2014, they bought close to 9% stake, or no, 20% stake in Shriram Capital, by when that was the holding company. And in 2018, they bought another 10% stake in Shriram City Union Finance. So these were the three transactions, 2013, 2014 and 2018, wherein they put in a large amount of sum in the Shriram Group companies. Now what we are seeing is, we saw the big merger of all the group companies within Shriram Group. And now what we are seeing, the Shriram Finance is basically a merger between Shriram Transport and Shriram City Union Finance. The two got merged. And by virtue of that, there was this.
And they had this 8.3%.
Yeah. So in the merged entity in Shriram Finance, Piramal ended up holding close to 8.3% stake, which got cleaned out today.
Which they've sold out today. So a lot of people will wonder how should they read this exit? Is it that things didn't work out, or is it that Piramal had some independent, more aggressive plans? Because Piramal Enterprises and Mr. Piramal has been on record to say that they're quite serious in the financial services space, right?
They are, but again, if you look at the history when they bought these stakes, even for the longer, for this entire 10-year period, there was enough clarity that these are strategic stakes and they will look to monetize over a period of time. So, if you look at the history of Piramal Enterprise or the Piramal Group, they've been quite vocal and very active about putting money into some business, creating a larger piece out of it, and then exiting at a higher valuation. They did in the pharma business. I mean, that was a record deal, right? I mean, if you remember, with Abbott. I mean, the record deal, that record sales they sold out, got into Piramal. In 10 years' time, I'm sure they made a lot of money by investing into Shriram Group as well. So they've made their money. It was a strategic stake for them, and they've monetized it. So the way to read is It was a strategic stake, and they've sold out today by encashing a big amount of money.
Fair enough, fair enough. They got in at an opportune time. The investment matured over long periods, and now they're simply monetizing it. Fair enough. So that brings us to the next question, Nimesh. Let's look at it for both entities. I mean, they're now on diverging paths because the relationship has ended. Market's very happy with this breakup, it seems, by the way, looking at the way the stocks are rallying. So let's start with Piramal.
Okay.
Now, like you mentioned, they have 4,800 crores of cash. That's a huge amount of money. Today they've got this cash, literally in the bank.
Yeah.
So what ahead for them now?
Okay, so from a Piramal perspective, why this deal is important and why I think market is reacting 13%, and I guess market is right in reacting that the stock is up 13% in today's trade. As you rightly pointed out, with this block deal, they've raised 4,800 crores. Yep. My understanding is they're still holding on to one of the other Shriram insurance business which they can monetize going forward. Okay. Now, this 4,800 crore has to be put in the context of what is the current market cap of Piramal Enterprises. It's close to 22,500 crores. So little over 22,000 crores. Okay. So nearly 1/4 of market cap they've got today
as cash
by selling stake in Shriram Finance. Now the big question is, I spoke to a couple of analysts as well. Now the whole thing to watch will be what Piramal does with this money. They have some debt as well, which they can repay it. Okay. Being an NBFC company, they can leverage this money at least 2 to 3x and make the book size quite bigger.
So they can really go all guns blazing in their own business.
Also, there is a possibility of either a buyback or a dividend to reward the minority shareholders. So even that's something which a lot of analysts put out, that maybe that's an option for them to consider. So that's the reason why market is excited about today's deal. It's hard cash for an NBFC to come at these levels. So that's been the key reason. Even from a valuation point of view, I was just looking at the NBFC valuations vis-a-vis Piramal. Chola is trading at 5 times price to book on FY24. Okay. Piramal is trading at 0.7 times price to book.
Wow. Okay. So it's got valuations on its side.
It's got valuation on its side. There is a valuation comfort. Now that they've got the money, there is a hope of either a dividend or a buyback. And the fact that they can use this money for debt repayment as well as grow the book as well. So there are multiple reasons for Piramal shareholders to get excited after exiting Shriram Finance and at these valuations.
Oh, that's really well explained. I mean, that really tells us why there's so much excitement with this block trade happening in the morning, because either you get rewarded as a shareholder, either you get some direct cash by way of higher dividend, or even if the company reinvests it in the business, then you have a long runway ahead, and that valuation number, wow, that's amazing. 0.7 times.
0.7 times.
Others are trading
FY24 price to book.
FY24, whereas others are at 5 times.
Which has been a big outperformer, it's trading at 5 times.
Ah, wow. And these days in this market,
but always deserves a higher
absolutely.
premium,
I mean,
right?
it has
part
its
of the
own
Murugappa group.
Absolutely,
They've always commanded a huge premium.
Not taking away from that at all. I mean, each company has its own merits and has its own valuation reasons for the valuations. But in this market where you rarely are getting stocks that are cheap, I mean, cheap is a word you can't use in this market. True. So wherever I think there are pockets, people get excited. That explains the rationale on the Piramal side and why Piramal shareholders are so happy today. Now let's talk about Shriram Finance. And with now this investor sort of clearing out, what are the next triggers you think for their business?
So, as far as Shriram Finance is concerned, the reason the stock is up 10% in today's trade is because the large supply overhang is out of the way. If you remember, last week, TPG sold out their 2.65% stake and they cleaned out. Okay, there were another large holders in that merged entity which were owning a large stake.
Correct.
So TPG sold out 2.6% in one single day and they cleaned out. And now with Piramal's exit, the large part of the big supply overhang seems to be out of the way. I think that's the big takeaway from a market point of view as far as Shriram Finance is concerned. That the big supply is out of the way. And the fact is even today the block happened in the block window.
Yeah, it didn't really come to the market.
Exactly.
I mean, there was no shares.
There was dedicated buyer, so no slippage. And the fact that it happened in a block window, which means the discount was just 1%. So at just 1% discount, the stock had rallied 20% in the last few days, and then deal got executed. I understand some real big names will come in the disclosures name in today's block deal as well. So that'll
be very interesting. Who has checked into the Shriram Finance?
I understand
entity.
one of the sovereign funds name will come. That's my feedback. That maybe one of the large sovereign funds was an anchor investor in today's block. So that's exciting the street. As I explained, that the supply seems to be out of the way. The other interesting thing is only recently, just June 19th, we had the management of Shriram Finance on our channel, and they sounded quite confident about the business. That's the other part of it. The quarter 4 was slightly weak, but the way forward for 24 was quite strong.
Sure.
I was just looking at some of the lines that the management mentioned. They are very confident of a 10% growth to continue in FY24. They expect a 10 to 12% growth in the two-wheeler segment and a 10 to 15% growth in the farm equipment segment. So these are the two big levers for them. And if they start firing, I guess Shriram Finance also has got some bit of valuation comfort. So maybe supply wiring is out of the way. Some marquee names have got into it. Even in the TPG block, some big names got into were in the buyers list.
Okay.
Right? So that way, I guess that's the reason why Street seems to be quite excited with Shriram Finance as well.
So here is, if I can say, here is a divorce that seems to be a win-win for all. Literally, it is parting of ways, but then two entities growing.
I won't say. I mean, divorce could be harsh word in this case. Parting of ways, because it was. See, anyway, Piramal was not deeply involved into the day-to-day operations of the business.
It was not a business synergistic deal.
It was more of a strategic
financial
deal. It was more of strategic. They made money. They're moving on.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of making money, I mean, I just don't know how much money investment bankers are making these days, Nimesh, because
you're so right. Yesterday I was so tired for that, even for that Piramal blog. I said, I hope it doesn't come. And imagine these bankers are launching books even on a Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hats off to the bankers as well. They're working
I think they had a very rough last year, where the deal street had completely deals had evaporated, the mood was off. But this last couple of months, especially the last 2 months, I think, it's been absolutely fantastic. And remember,
and as I said yesterday as well, wait for more. There are more to come. So
that's what I was saying.
You keep exciting you.
You do not want to miss your date with Nimesh Shah on CNBC-TV18. Of course, we keep getting you all the details on who moved the market, but all the live action you will catch on Closing Bell. So at 3 o'clock, Nimesh is live. Whatever is hot on the burner, whatever is brewing, he will give you some hints and serve it right up for you. So make sure you keep your date with Deal Street Chatter on Closing Bell as well. Nimesh, fantastic. That meter is ticking. $2 billion worth of deals, block deals already in June. The month is not even over. I have a feeling you'll make a third appearance before this month is over.
I'll be happy
to do the hat trick.
This is what I said in the beginning, right? It's always a pleasure to sit with you. So co-anchoring with you is always a pleasure. So I hope some more deals happen.
Fantastic, Nimesh. Thank you very much for joining us once again today. With that, we will take your leave. Thank you for watching. Do keep sending your feedback, your comments and queries. See you again with one more theme tomorrow.